Hey guys, welcome back. You know what I like about New World? You can respec. Say you have a character like the one I have here. He wields a fire staff and an ice gauntlet. So right now, I'm training the ice gauntlet. I gather a bunch of enemies and then I throw an ice attack, and this way I can level up my ice gauntlet. But say I wanted to change and wield a sword. I could respec and then either put full strength or put strength and dexterity, or put strength and constitution for more life. There are ways in which I could basically change my character to an entirely new character. And just like that, I can try a whole new character build. So there's absolutely no worries about whether or not I chose the right specs, whether or not I chose the right weapon, whether or not I chose a character that I really enjoy playing, because at the end of the day, you can change those character stats completely for free before level 20, and then for some in-game gold, which is also free. You just have to do some quests to get it. So with just a little bit of gold, you can change all of your specifications and you can make a completely new build. So when you're playing PvP, you can change to a healer, you can change to a tank, or you can just change to a new weapon that you'd like to try. And there's kind of no worries about it. You can just do whatever you want. And what if life was like that? What if you could change everything you've learned throughout your life and just focus it on one specific skill? So say that you had worked as a cook for 20 years. What if you could take all of that experience and then put it into mechanics so that you could fix your car real quick on a Sunday morning? Or what if you could change it into engineering and construction so you could spend a year building your own house? What if we could start fresh just by flicking a button? That's what I like about that feature. It just allows you to have a more free experience. And even though we can't really do that, we can't exactly turn back the clock and be a child again in primary school now with more focus and a much greater idea of what we want out of life. Even though we can't do that full reset, at least not within the realm of our understanding, because we don't know what science will do in the future. Couldn't we then choose something that now, having lived through more life, really fascinates us more than the things we chose to do because maybe we needed to find a job because we needed to pay for our bills, or we went into a job that we thought we would like but we were influenced by somebody else, like a parent, a family member, a friend. I think it's very common for us to choose a path that, whether we like it or not, we would have liked to try another path just to know whether or not that's something we want to be a part of. The whole point of this is that you can change that where you are today and do anything you want to do by simply dedicating some time to it. Put $1 a day into the bank at a 4% interest, or I guess these days it's closer to a 3% interest, then you will be making more year over year than what you're saving. So if in 10 years you've been putting $1 a day in, you should be closer to $3,650, but in reality, you'll be closer to $4,000 simply because the bank is giving you that interest. Now, you're still not going to be able to beat inflation with these interests, but that's hardly the point. If you change that idea from investing money into investing time, and you take away the thought that you don't have enough time, that you're too busy, that there's no way you could fit that into your schedule, then all you really have to do is dedicate 5 minutes a day to something that you know you can do, right? So if you wanted to pick up a new skill, like if you wanted to cook, to use the same example as before, it really wouldn't take more than 5 minutes a day, because you can learn a lot about cooking without ever actually cooking, and you can learn a lot more about cooking by cooking and making mistakes. You might not be able to pull off an entire recipe in 5 minutes, but if you could dedicate 5 times 7, 35 minutes a week to a recipe, that would be the same. Once a week, you sit down for 35 minutes and you're like, today I'm gonna bake a cake. Today I'm gonna make an omelet. Today I'm gonna learn how to make al dente pasta so that I don't overcook it or undercook it to exactly where I want it to be. Just by dedicating a little bit of time each day or each week, you can kind of accomplish anything you want. Just some food for thought. If there's anything you've been putting off, Just remind yourself that if you can just take this as seriously as you take your 9-to-5 job, then you can dedicate 5 minutes a day to that thing you've been putting off. And just by doing that consistently, the results will build on themselves. And make sure you're recording it too. If today you did 5 minutes, tomorrow you do 5 minutes, the next day you do 5 minutes, keep track of that. See how much time you've put into the thing that you had been putting off before because you told yourself it was too difficult to do, or you didn't have enough time, or it wasn't that important, and you just dissuaded yourself from building on that skill or whatever it is that you want to do. Don't deprive yourself of that. Keep track of how much time you're putting into it, how you are seeing the difference in the things that you're learning and how it's changing the way that you do the thing that you wanted to do. I don't exactly know what it is for you. For everybody, it's something different. But once you figure that out, you can just go forward with it. And it's a lot more fun to do it because the process itself is very rewarding. So that's just my 2 cents for today. And with that, we come back to the main event of today's video, the final boss fight. So this guy is the boss before the boss. This is actually a very deceptive party quest where you think you're gonna fight the main boss and then you have like 3 guys that you think are the main guy, but they're not the main guy. So that guy killed me, and then the quest kept going. And we arrived at this chamber with Commander Thorpe, who really knows how to make an entrance. This guy is basically the main story's commander, obviously. And even though for a while in the story you think he's on your side, he just comes at us with all the force of 1,000 suns, just slashing away. And to make things worse, Commander Thorpe is a cheater. Look at him, we get him down to his last bar of health, and then he consumes some kind of otherworldly, super crazy health potion that gets him almost to full health. And even though you keep going at him, he keeps using those health potions like 3 times in a row. So by the time most of your crewmates are dead, because you've been fighting this guy, he heals again. So he's a big cheater. So we obviously kept trying to get him, but to no avail. Every time we could get some good shots in, he would do a slasher, he would do a swingy thing, and every party needs to have their healer and their tank, and ideally we would have had more than one of each of those, but most of us were just damage, and damage is good for damage, as the name implies. But once you get hit, your armor is pretty vulnerable, and it's pretty easy for one of those hits to just take you right out. And even though we kept going at him and we kept trying, and every death was just another opportunity to get back at him, and we were a very scrappy few, a team of strangers put together on this game to destroy Commander Thorpe's evil reign of terror. There's only so much a person can take, and eventually we just got bored of dying. So after about an hour and a half of trying to kill this guy, all of us were like, hey, you know what? We didn't really spend an hour and a half. It was more like maybe an hour. I don't know. Maybe it was like an hour and a half. Maybe it was 60 minutes. Maybe it was just a 30-minute, 20-minute fight. I can't really remember. The point is that it felt like it was a really long time. Even here, see, I die again, and then they revive me, but then I die again. So then we try one more time to fight this guy, but I'm telling you, like, we just weren't the right level, or we didn't have the right gear, or we didn't have the right strategy. Third time he heals, he brings out 2 ghouls that if you don't kill them first, you can't make more damage for him. And meanwhile, he's throwing balls of fire and slashing his sword that's also on fire. So round by round, we kept going and we kept trying and we kept fighting, and it was always down to one person trying to fight him for the last bit of the bar and him just rushing through and destroying them. Might be talking about myself. No matter how much we tried, no matter how much we slashed and how much we pepped ourselves up with a little before fight chat of, no, we can do it, just put on the right gear, we just bailed, man. It was too difficult. We'll come back to it on another level. So to make myself feel better, I went into a cave and I fought the boss of the cave, which wasn't as strong. It was a lot easier to take him one-on-one, and that was a nice little way of putting a cherry on top of a wonderful questing day. If you liked it, please consider subscribing and liking for New World Dungeon commanders to know that they're not gonna win this fight. They're not gonna keep us down. We're always gonna keep trying. All right, guys, have a great one. Bye.